Hey everybody, welcome to this edition of Michael Sautéed Italia. I'm Michael, and today we're going to be making grilled filet with a red wine reduction with some mashed potatoes that I seasoned with some Pecorino Romano and some chicken broth and some spinach to go along with that. So welcome, and I'll show you how that looks, and we'll get it started for you. First thing we'll do is we're going to turn the stove on here, melt some of the butter from my grill. Get that heated up nice and going for you, because you want to make sure that the cast iron grill gets nice and hot for the steaks. Okay, and then in this pan here, we're going to add about three tablespoons of butter for the red wine reduction. Okay, we're going to turn that on, and once the butter gets nice and melted, what we'll do is we're going to add some of the some shallots, some parsley, some garlic, tomato paste, and red wine. So it's going to start smelling good here really soon. So let's get that butter nice and melted. And as you can see, the butter's melting nicely in the cast iron. Just move that around just a little bit. Alright, so when that butter gets nice and melted, then what we're going to do is we're going to add in our shallots, and we're going to add in our garlic. After that, we're going to add in our garlic, and then our parsley, and then our tomato paste and our red wine. Okay, so that butter's melted. So what we're going to do is we're going to add our shallots in, okay, sliced up, about 2 medium-sized shallots. And then we'll mix that around a little bit, let that cook for a minute. So it's a relatively easy dish to make. You know, it's steak with some spinach or some mashed potatoes, so it's relatively easy to do. You can use any grade of steak you want, doesn't matter. I'm using the 2 6-ounce fillets. I'm going to make medium rare for myself, because quite frankly there's nobody else here. So, you know, if you like it medium well, you know, you can definitely do it that way. But you know, that's not my preference. So, you know, in this type of dish, your preference can be whatever. You can use any steak, you can use spinach, you can use broccoli, you can use any vegetable you want, any side you want. You know, ultimately, that's all up to you. So let this another minute on the shallots, and then we're going to add our garlic in after that. We've got about 2 cloves of chopped up garlic. Okay, so add that right in. Give it a little turn. And this butter's melting good here. The pan's getting nice and hot. And that's what you want when you're using cast iron. You want to make sure it's nice and hot. You know, this way it cooks well. It gives you nice grill marks that you're looking for, and it seals in the flavors when it's nice and hot that way. So. Okay, so that's on. Okay, now we're going to add our oregano in. Give it a couple turns. So, you know, it's probably takes about 10 minutes for the reduction, usually between about 4 minutes or so on each side for the steaks, depending on the size. I got about 1 1/4 inch steaks, 6-ounce steaks. So, you know, it doesn't take that long to do. But when you're making these, like I said, you just got to make sure that the pan is nice and hot. You want to hear that sizzle. You want everything to seal in. So, you know, ultimately, you know, how you make your steak is up to you. What type of steak you use is also up to you. So, but that's again, that's all choice. So now I'm going to add in my tomato paste. and that is about 3 tablespoons. Oh yeah. I tell you what, the tomato paste, the shallots, the garlic, I could probably take a piece of bread and just dump it right in there. That would be great for me. But you want to cook that a little bit. The key is to cook it down as much as you can, because when you put the wine in, you got to slowly pour the wine in, and you got to whisk it as you go along. All this is not going to stay in here anyway. All the solids come out of this anyway, and I'm going to show you what that's like. I'm going to strain that out for you. Okay, so that's cooked down. You can take a piece of bread and just put it right in there. Okay. Now with the wine, you slowly pour it in and you whisk as you go along. And you got to keep whisking it, because you want this to reduce down about halfway or so, and then it will work out good. And then as it heats, the tomato paste will also start to melt and loosen up and incorporate with the rest of it. So that's in there pretty well. It's mixed up pretty nicely. And in a minute, what we're going to do is, once it's cooked down, this is going to be about 5 minutes for this to cook down. And then I'm going to drain it after the fact. But meanwhile, let's put our steaks in. And that's what they look like. I've salted them, put a little pepper on them. Nothing really more than that. You don't need anything. You got the butter. And that's what you want to hear. There you go. So you want the heat to be medium to medium-high heat. Again, it depends on how you're going to have your grill marks. I prefer to have like a checkerboard effect. So what you're going to do with that is you're going to keep it about roughly 4 minutes per side. Okay. But don't forget, 4 minutes each side doesn't mean 4 minutes for each grill mark that you make. So now, if you want multiple grill marks in like a cross pattern, you got to do 2 minutes on each grill cycle. Okay, so that's going in really, really nicely. The smell is unbelievable in this kitchen right now. If you guys can smell what's going on in here, it's unbelievable. It's like a whole party going on right here. So this is boiling up nice. And again, don't worry so much about the onions and the garlic and everything like that, because all that's going to get drained out. So you don't have to worry about that. I use something like this. You can use a cheesecloth. You can use whatever you want, but the whole idea is you're going to take it from one pan into another, because it's going to be kind of hard to drain otherwise. Okay? All right, so as you can see, the marks on that is beautiful. Then you're just going to take it and you're going to turn it around. See? Perfect. And then you're going to turn it that way. Again, 2 minutes like that. And then you're going to turn it and do the same exact thing. So if you don't like multiple grill marks, if you just want it one-sided, then for an inch and a quarter steak, if you like it medium rare, you're going to do it about 4 minutes per side. So, again, that's all based on how you like it. So it looks like the reduction is almost halfway, and you want the reduction to go down about halfway before you strain it and transfer it to a pan. So, just Just be careful around the flame. You're going to be transferring it. If you have a flame stove top, just be careful because there is alcohol in there, so you don't want this thing to flame up on you. So, but then once that's done, and once you have it transferred to the other pan, then you're going to take another 3 tablespoons of butter and put it in there again and melt it and mix it around. Okay. So it looks like we got about 2 minutes per, and there's your four marks. I'll see if I can bring it closer for you without getting everywhere. See? Beautiful. And now you're going to turn it around. Starting off the same way you did originally, which is going one direction. And then it's about 2 minutes of that, you're going to turn it around again and give you the mark that you're looking for. All right, but meanwhile, what I've done is, I mean, for the most part, most of us know how to do a little spinach and garlic and oil. So I've already taken care of that. It takes 2 minutes. When you're using spinach, when you're making spinach, do not make it get to where it's no consistency. A lot of people overcook spinach and it looks just like a pile of mush. So just your garlic and oil, you get it hot, you put the spinach in just for a minute, maybe 2, nothing more than that. And then you put it off, I put it off to the side. I've also sauteed some mushrooms and some butter. So again, these things, you know, it doesn't take a long time to do, and you don't need to cook them for a long period of time. Otherwise, you know, it just turns really mushy on you, and that's not what you're looking for. You want some nice substance to the thing that you make. Okay, so looks like this is just about done. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this from the stove here. I'm going to take my other pan, put it in its place, and I'm going to pour this in here. And get rid of all those solids. As you can see, it's all coming out nice. And you didn't skip a beat, you didn't stop cooking it. But you also don't want to have, you know, you wanted the flavor, not necessarily having the items, but just the flavor. And don't forget, I didn't forget about my steaks. So now I'm going to take them, turn it to the side. And a lot of people stop there, and you don't stop there. If you want a good steak, what you do is you take the, once you're done with the flat parts, you turn it to its side. Get the sides done too. You know, the sides need some love. They need some grilling love, don't they? So this is, we're going to reduce this down now. Okay? And what's left in here in the strainer is just not a whole lot. You can press down if you want, just get whatever it is. But it's more like a paste now at this point. So you can see that. So you just remove that from here. And then we're going to add in our remaining butter that we had. Okay? And then we're going to reduce the heat down, medium low, and just let the butter melt in there. Okay, so just about another minute left on these steaks, and then I'm going to turn them on the side because again, the sides need some love. So we can't forget about that. And basically this dish is almost finished. You know, so it doesn't take long. You know, it's there's some ingredients in here that, you know, some of us used and some of us maybe haven't used, and that's okay. You know, you're not going to make a red wine reduction, so to speak, every day. You know, you can use any wine you want, any red wine. I'm using a Barbarone. You can use a Merlot, you can use a Cabernet. It doesn't make a difference which one you use. Okay? So now this is all mixed together. And it's going to simmer now for just a couple minutes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my steak over to its side. Okay? Now, at this point, you can turn it on an angle. That's okay. Just press down. until it gets into position, then you can let it go. All right, just for a minute or so on each side. And it's just about done. This is simmering now. The spinach is already done. My mushrooms are done. My potatoes I already did earlier. So all it is a few potatoes. I took 3 potatoes. I boiled them and cooked them till it's soft. And I didn't put any salt or anything like that in it because what I'm doing with the potatoes, you're putting chicken broth, you're using butter, and you're using grated locatelli, Pecorino Romano, which is what I use. You can use any cheese you want, but all those have salty taste to them, so there's really no reason to add extra salt into it. Okay, nice grill marks over here. Nice good side. You know, I had some people asking me last week about, you know, Thanksgiving dinners. I mean Thanksgiving, listen to me. Valentine's dinners. I'm already thinking about Thanksgiving and Christmas. But Valentine's dinners, you know, so I'm going to dress up the plate a little bit to make it a little bit more appealing to the eye. You know, instead of just taking some mashed potatoes and plopping it in, I'm going to be using a pastry bag with a coarse tip. Give it a fancier look. Okay, and we're going to take the spinach, we're going to lay it down on the flat of the plate and rest the steaks on top of that. Okay. Alright, one more time around. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my plate, I'm going to take the sauteed spinach that I had already done, and I'm going to rest it right in the middle of the plate. Okay, that's done here. And feel free, if anybody wants to come here and do my dishes for me while I make the food, please just let me know. Send me an email, send me a text message, send me an instant message. I'm good with all of it. Okay? All right, so it looks like the reduction is just about complete. My steak is just about done, so everything's getting finished at the same time, which is what you're looking for. Okay? I can actually shut this off. Shut this off. Okay? I'm going to take a little bit of mushrooms. I'm going to put on top of the steak. Okay? So what we're going to do is I'm going to take our plate. It's got the spinach in there. Then we're going to nestle the steak right on there. Just like so. The buddies right now, they're sitting side by side. They like that. Then take a little bit of the mushrooms, put that right over the top. And I'm using baby portobello mushrooms. You can use whatever mushrooms you want. To me, there's just more flavor on those. And all I do is saute them in a little bit of butter. That's it, nothing more. You know, when it comes down to ingredients, you got to keep it simple. Too much is no good. You wind up ruining the flavor of the food that you're looking to really taste. Okay? So what I do now is I take a spoon. You don't take the whole pan and pour it over the top. So you just take a little spoon like this, just drizzle it along the top. That's all you're looking to do. Okay? And then, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my pastry bag. Now, I'm not going to use a whole lot. So you push it down, and you just bring it out. Bring it down. And just a little bit. That's all you want. Okay. Got a little towel. Make sure it gives a nice presentation. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is your finished plate. So, I'd like to thank everybody for joining us today on Michael Sautéed Italia. And until our next adventure, have a great night. I'll speak to you soon.